What's good, y'all? It's your boy Havoc. We're final round. About to do a little film study here. We got Horn versus Crawford. I got a request to do this fight breakdown in the comment section below. So if you want me to break a fight down, put it down below. I'll get to it as soon as possible. But this is a great fight to watch in terms of watching a master counter puncher at work, especially the ring awareness and just being a ring general. Being a ring general is not just controlling the center of the ring or putting pressure or being very aggressive. Sometimes being a ring general is knowing how to fight off the back foot and walk your opponent into punches. But you'll see different shades of Crawford come forward, go backward, laterally, fight inside. You'll see different shades of that throughout the fight. But Crawford does that amazingly, especially against an opponent who's unorthodox. He's awkward, likes to dash in, likes to blitz in a lot. Lots of broken timing and broken movements by Jeff Horn. You know, Jeff Horn made it to this level for a reason. You know, obviously not the most physically, athletically gifted fighter, but he does have some abilities and got a little lucky against Manny Pacquiao, but nonetheless has some things he brings to the table. So Jeff Horn comes out very aggressive, trying to cut off the ring. Nice right cross to the body by Jeff Horn. Immediately, Crawford switches to the southpaw stance, and I believe he does this because he's taking away the ability for Jeff Horn to cut off the ring. I can already see Jeff Horn struggling to move laterally while Crawford's in the southpaw stance. Crawford trying to get respect right now. He doesn't like that Jeff Horn's being very reckless and encroaching on his space. So he's really sitting down on these counters, trying to land them and get respect. And you see right there, Crawford setting his feet, letting his hands go, turning his back to the center of the ring, exchanging because he needs to let Jeff Horn know, you're not just going to walk up to my front door and kick the door in. You're going to have to pay a price. I got shotguns. I got pistols waiting for you. I got a security system. You're not just going to walk me down like that, bro. And that's something people have to understand. If you're a counterpuncher and you're dealing with a very aggressive fighter like that who's encroaching on your space, you have to get his respect. Okay, you have to get his respect. You have to set your feet when you get backed up into a corner of the ropes, and sometimes you got to let your hands go, but you have to set it up first, and Crawford does that amazingly. Once again, Crawford clinches up. Instead of engaging in a bunch of counters, he clinches Jeff Horn, and this is a constant theme you need to look at. Crawford always will reset and get his back to the center of the ropes after he gets backed into a corner or backed with his back to the ropes. Beautiful right hook counters. That's going to be his go-to counter these first few rounds is that right hook, and he'll pivot. He'll get off the center line. Jeff Horn will come in and blitz. And Jeff Horn likes to blitz with this Fitzsimmons shift. He likes to throw the cross while he closes the distance, and then he'll be switched into the southpaw stance. Like right there, boom. Shoots across, goes to the southpaw stance. He's trying to close distance and follow up with an attack. The problem with Jeff Horn when he does that is like he's not setting anything up. He does it too much. He showed all his cards for the first few rounds. And, you know, if you want to see somebody execute that Fitzsimmons shift beautifully, watch a guy like Triple G. He does it great, and he doesn't abuse that technique. He sets it up throughout the fight. And beautiful. I like how Crawford covers up his head right there, frames with the elbow. I think the left or it was the right elbow, controls his opponent, gets back to the center of the ring. He knows that Jeff Horn gets a little messy on the inside. I'm not going to call Jeff Horn a dirty fighter. I just think he's very awkward. And I think when he gets to the inside, he's very messy. So you can catch some elbows. You're going to catch the head because he just doesn't know how to control his body very well. And so Crawford doesn't want to engage in that. And smart by him. It's not that he doesn't want to fight on the inside. It's just that he knows this dude, he can be predisposed to getting cut from headbutts or elbows. So he's going to try to deflate him first. And I like how Crawford sets his feet, shoots the cross, jab, cross. Good combination to use when you're when you have two fighters who are southpaw and orthodox going up against each other. Beautiful. That's the hook. Ooh, beautiful counter. Walks Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn's got a pretty damn good chin. Good body shots, take the air out of Jeff Horn. That's another thing. If you want to get opponents' respect and he's being too aggressive, look to land very strong pot shots to the body to slow them down. Take that air away from them. And notice how Crawford is half-stepping back. He's moving in inches, not feet. Jeff Horn's constantly moving in feet, diving in. And, you know, he's constantly resetting the distance so he can't control. He doesn't know where he's at in space because he constantly keeps on jumping back and forth. So he's not managing distance very well. Nice counter by Crawford, comes with the hook and then follows up with the cross. Staying in the center of the ring. Nice jab by Crawford. Easy to time Jeff Horn because, once again, he moves in feet, not inches, and he keeps on resetting the distance. So every time he comes back in, jumps back in, Crawford's hitting him with a jab. And look at the constant theme. That's what you want to do. If you're the counter puncher, you want to find your way back to the center of the ring. Crawford clinches up, gets back to the center. Good jab by Crawford. Half stepping. He's looking for a counter right here. Not quite there, so he ducks under to his left side, turns Jeff Horn in the clinch, and look at all the real estate behind him. That's the key for Crawford. He needs real estate to operate. He cannot operate if he doesn't have enough real estate behind him. He needs that center of the ring. He needs the variety. He needs the options to change up what he's going to do. Because if those options are limited by Jeff Horn, if Jeff Horn cuts off those options and backs him up to a corner and to the ropes all the time, relentlessly, then Crawford's going to become predictable. He's not going to have too many options to use to be creative, to get his way out of those positions. Crawford back to the center of the ring. And just pay attention. Who has their feet in that square, that ESPN square, the most? Or just pay attention to how Crawford always finds his way back to the center of that square. And that's the key for him. Beautiful shots by Crawford. Good jab. Now, because Jeff Horn likes to bounce in and out, every time he pulls back drastically, Crawford just takes that real estate. Okay, you're going to pull back unnecessarily and waste all that energy and waste all that. Okay, I'm going to slowly steal that space from you and control the distance. Now, I'm going to put a little pressure on you. Okay, now I'm going to move back. Nice, ducks under. Crawford very strong in the clinch. Having a strong clinch game at this level is very important. It can make a huge difference. The problem with Jeff Horn, he executes that Fitzsimmons shift like recklessly, continuously. He's not really setting it up. It becomes predictable. It's almost, but he has a lot of ways he finds his way to the inside, believe it or not. He's very creative. He'll use some head movement. He'll use his lead hand. Obviously can't use it here because Crawford went southpaw. But he'll feint. He'll do a lot of different things. He'll blitz in. He'll square up. He'll do a shift. He does a lot of different things. And good cross to the body by Crawford. That definitely slowed down Horn. But the thing about it is like a basketball player who knows how to drive the ball to the hoop, but then he misses the layup constantly. So he has all these different things he can do to get to the basket, but he can't make the layup. That's the problem with Jeff Horn, as I see from this fight at least, is that, yeah, he has a lot of different ways. Good head movement right there, but essentially he can't get any effective work done because when he does close the distance, okay, he gets to the inside and he just smothers his own work. But what good is that? And good counter by Crawford. He steps back. Instead of doing the pivot and hook, he pulled back his lead leg and then throws the hook. It's a nice little subtle change up, not doing the same thing, being creative and changing the lane in which he can hit that counter. And that's the beautiful thing. If you're going to be a counter puncher in this position, you have to be creative the way you throw your counters. You don't always want to go to the same thing. You don't just want to constantly hook and pivot, hook and pivot, hook and pivot. Sometimes you want to step back and then throw the hook. Sometimes you want to I'll step out or pivot to the inside and replace where your opponent was. There's lots of different things you can do. Shuffle out, throw a lead cross, smother. Be creative. Right here, Crawford chooses to clinch up, get his back to the center of the ring again, get his real estate back. Jeff Horn pretty much abandoned his jab from here. That lead hand's following down, probably because he's getting stuck with some good body shots. Good left hook by Crawford, once again changing it up. He gets backed up into a corner or the ropes. He's not just going to throw the pivot with the hook. He changed it up with a left hook or an overhand left that time, and then he pivoted it out. That time he throws the hook, and then he clinches. Beautiful combinations right there. Beautiful creativity. Hands down, changing up his guard, giving a different look. Pretty much setting up his hook. Walking Jeff Horn into the hook. Puts his guard back up, sets his feet, shoots the left cross, pivots back to the center of the ring. That time Jeff Horn gets reckless, so he just clinches. Once again, somehow Crawford makes it back to the center of the ring. Just very creative in the way he does this stuff, man. like I said, pivots to the inside, replaces where Jeff Horn was standing, constantly giving different looks. You can never key up on him. And now he's pretty much being the ring general at this point. He's pretty much where Jeff Horn. He's taking control of this fight. And Jeff Horn, because he keeps on jumping in and out of range in feet, not inches, it's so easy to time, and he's getting caught with some nasty left crosses. He's running into the wall. That's what I call it. When you're a counterpuncher, you want your opponent, you almost want your punches to act as a wall. So every time your opponent rushes in like that, you leave him with a punch as if he's running into a wall. Boom, beautiful overhand left by Crawford, and then he pivots out. Jeff Horn's got a pretty damn good chin, dude. He's taking some vicious punches. Crawford, look how he half steps back. Boom, look how he steps that lead foot back, and then he throws the hook. I love that when fighters have the ability to step back and throw that hook, and it's almost like a switch going backwards. Very old school technique that it was used back in the day. Good cross, jab, cross, combination, pushes Jeff Horn back so he can get his real estate back. Jeff Horn pushing back. Let's see what Crawford does to maneuver out of this. Right now he's just going to try to jab his way out. Use his footwork and jab. Nice little shuffle stepping. Then he shoots the left cross and he tries to clinch, but then he pushes Jeff Horn back. Pushes him off balance so he can get back and start working again. So many different things he's doing to maneuver out of the corner and the ropes. And beautiful right there. Ducks under. Resetting. That's being a ring general. Controlling distance. Come over the top with that hook jab combo, that hook jab punch. Jeff Horn still doing the same technique, just throws that right cross while he's switching stances to the southpaw. But once again, he'll close the distance, but he doesn't do anything with it. He doesn't know how to work on the inside. He doesn't. Now, easier said than done against a guy like Crawford. I haven't seen too many Jeff Horn fights before this. Maybe he is good at it, but maybe he's just facing Terrence Crawford to where he couldn't really get anything off on the inside. But in this fight specifically, he would close the distance, but he never did anything with it, and he would just smother most of his work, or put himself in a position to get clinched up by Terrence Crawford. Sometimes you have to know how to angle off, step to the side, throw some uppercuts, tight punches. You can't just, you get into the hoop, but you're not making the layup. Now Crawford, laughing, having his way. He says, this is a joke to him at this point. But you're probably going to see him get a little bit more aggressive here. Maybe stand his ground. We'll see. Goes to the high guard. Or he may have been laughing just from the wrestling. As much wrestling's going on in this matchup. But you kind of do, man. And I like how he protects his head. Take note of that. Opens up his hand in the glove to make sure he's covering heads. That's really smart to do, man. It seems subtle things, small little details, but that's those small little details that add up to make a pound-for-pound great fighter. You got to protect yourself against those rapid punches. Subtle little things like that add up. Crawford goes to the high guard, squaring up a little bit more in his stance. Stepping back, throws the hook. He's trying to settle down, and you can see Crawford looking to exchange a little in that pocket. Lands a nice cross, and then it follows up with the jab. Jeff Horn just very sloppy. Doesn't control his body very well. He's fighting with no jab, so he's out in outer space. He doesn't know where he's at. He's floating, in the middle of nothing. He can't control distance. Right there, he uses a little bit of his lead hand. But you got to be able to land that jab to a certain degree. And nice counters by Crawford, stepping back and just popping, ripping off counters. And now Crawford's starting to get very aggressive. He's shrugging off Jeff Horn. You can tell he's hurting him. Now he's starting to be the pressure fighter. Now he's starting to control him. I love the way he's able to clinch. Look how he frames with that left hand and controls the center of Jeff Horn's body, pushes him back, and he gets all the real estate behind him. This is my territory. This is my ground. I want all that to operate. I'm going to put your bitch ass back to the ropes, and you stay right there. I'm in control of this fight now. Good job. Nice little wrestling. Nice putting his head over. That's a nice way to drain your opponent as well. Get dirty with them in the clinch. Tug on that neck, tug on those arms, wear them down a little bit. You got to have a little dog in you. You got to be a little bit of a dirty boxer, as a professional if you want to be great. And I like how tight his guard is, Crawford's guard is. Once again, makes his way back to the center of the ring. Now he's putting Jeff Horn on the back foot, backing him up to the ropes. A little bit of dirty boxing by Crawford right here. Crawford makes sure, and notice how he grabs the back of the ropes and he kind of cages in Jeff Horn. That was a very slick move right there. He grabs the ropes while he has the under ties against Jeff Horn, and he keeps him locked in the ropes. That's a great way to clinch an opponent up and take away any sort of rabid punching or hip punching. And look at this, manhandling Jeff Horn, turning him. Very strong in the clinch. Steps back, cross, jab, cross combo. Starts landing those crosses, putting pressure, backing Jeff Horn up to the ropes. And Crawford's like, nah, I'm getting sick of this clinching stuff. I'm getting sick of you grabbing me. I'm going to start slinging you off me. Look how Crawford's controlling, almost like a Muay Thai clinch he's got there. Beautiful work, stepping forward, cutting off the ring. Lands a cross right there, doing some inside work. Beautiful hook. Beautiful. And he's staying centered. Like I said, almost framing his opponent with his high guard, controlling the center of him. Nice, shrugs him off, uses that elbow to shrug his opponent off. I don't think Crawford wants to fight on the inside too much with a guy like Jeff Horn, because once again, Jeff Horn, you're going to catch some heads, you're going to catch elbows, you're going to catch shoulders. It's just going to be that's the last thing you need if you're dominating your opponent like this and you can get out of this fight with little to no damage. The last thing you want is taking a cut on the head because of a headbutt, because this guy has a lack of control on the inside, or taking an elbow or something going on and maybe get gashed in the nose. So very smart move by Crawford. Turns to this, gets back to the center of the ring, jabs, controls the distance, stepping back. He's looking for a counter at this point. Let's see it. He notices that Jeff Horn has a little bit more of a second wind, so he's really sitting down, waiting to counter. Good jab by Crawford, jabbing and pivoting out. Getting close to the ropes, so he ties up. Always make sure that he makes Jeff Horn end up with his back to the ropes and not his own. Ducks down. I like how he changes it up once again. If he's going to clinch again and show the same thing, he's not going to do it in the same manner. That way, this time he ducks to his left, and then he comes up under and grabs his opponent. Jeff Horn, he's like I said, he does some head feints. He'll go under like he's dribbling a basketball. He's very creative when it comes to finding his way and blitzing inside. But once again, you gotta get some work done when you get there. You gotta make the basket. You gotta make the layup. There's gotta be something you follow up with. Jeff Horn feinting. And usually if Jeff Horn's feinting, he's pretty much trying to make Crawford guess when he's going to attack. Jeff Horn's got some subtle skills, man. I know he's not the most impressive fighter, but he's got some subtle abilities and skills. He actually uses more techniques than I would say Spence. But obviously, I'm not saying Jeff Horn is better than Spence on any level, and not even in the same dimension. But I'm saying, sometimes, look, less is more sometimes. Like Bruce Lee says, fear the man that throws one kick 1,000 times as opposed to the man that throws 1,000 different kicks. But Jeff Horn, you cannot deny that he does do a lot of different things. He likes to switch hit, even though he's not as good of a switch hitter as Crawford. He likes to use feints. He likes to use footwork, head movement. He likes to do a lot of things. But once again, it's lack of control. His footwork is all over the place. Sometimes too much movement and too much footwork can work against you, like it's working against Jeff Horn right now. But there's no doubt, he got here for a reason, and some of these techniques probably have worked obviously have worked in the past with different fighters, different opponents he's went up against. And, he is very awkward, and that can throw off a lot of guys. Some guys don't know how to deal with that awkwardness. Some guys like to be in a pretty pristine, clean fight, but we know Bud Crawford, when you go against him, he's willing to get his hands dirty. He's willing to get messy with you, and he's a counterpuncher on top of that, so he loves this type of matchup. And I want to make it clear one more time. I am not saying Jeff Horn is remotely on any sort of level close to Spence. I'm just saying he does utilize more different techniques than Spence. Now, not effectively, but he does use a lot of different things, okay, as opposed to Spence. Spence is, uses a small arsenal, but is very effective. One more time, I'm not saying Jeff Horn, because I know how some of y'all are going to act. I'm not saying Jeff Horn is anywhere nearly remotely close to Errol Spence Jr. on any sort of level. It's a messy fight in a lot of ways, but that's Jeff Horn. Once again, very awkward fighter. But props to him. I mean, getting bullied when he was younger. I think he's a school teacher or some shit, and he made it all the way up against the pound-for-pound best fighter. That's pretty damn impressive. And Crawford, I like how he's circling with that lead hand, kind of distracting Jeff Horn, throwing him off. Crawford really setting his ground, setting his feet, trying to stay in the center of the ring instead of backing up. He probably feels like, I don't need to back up anymore. A good cross to the body, stealing some wind from Jeff Horn. He feels that he's withering away at his opponent. He probably wants to take over and get him out of there, start pressing on the gas pedal. Jeff Horn using the same dash technique, right cross, switching to the southpaw, and then clinch up. It's unfortunate that he doesn't take that opportunity and maybe change the angle while he's on the inside and throw some uppercuts, throw some tight punches while he's stuck on that clinch. Good jab by Crawford. Nice duck under, throws Horn back into the ropes. And as this fight goes on, you can see Crawford is less and less getting backed up to the corner in the ropes. And he's just staying in the center of the ring to where now he's completely taking control of the aggression and being the ring general. But, like I said, you got to weather the storm first. Nice pivot to the inside by Crawford. You got to weather the storm first, because guys like these awkward guys like dashing in like this, they're going to come in, they're going to give all they got. They got good chins, they got heart, they got guts, they got determination. You just got to weather that storm for a few rounds. But once you get past it, and if you're able to use some creativity in maneuvering around the ring and have some ring awareness, understand when you're getting close with your back to the ropes or the corner, you'll be able to get through that phase that they have, that strong phase in the beginning of the fight. This is very reminiscent of Pacquiao versus or Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather. Hatton was very aggressive, and he was just walking into counter punches all night. But eventually, he was pretty much knocked out. Well, I think he was knocked out cold. The hook, step back hook, just like you saw Crawford throw against Horn, step back hook with the lead foot, and then boom, put him to sleep. Good uppercut by Crawford. He's going to start switching up that counter. Instead of throwing that hook and pivot, he's going to start throwing that uppercut in the southpaw stance with the left hand, which is a good choice, because especially Horn likes diving in head first sometimes. Nice tight guard by Crawford. Changing up the look. Ducks under, clinches up. Wants to exchange on the inside. And this is how I know Horn doesn't know how to fight on the inside, because he doesn't want to be there. He's not doing anything there. Every time Crawford's saying, all right, because that's somewhat of a universal sign. When you start putting that high guard up and you're walking towards your opponent, like, he's pretty much saying, all right, let's see what you got on the inside. And Horn has that opportunity. He's been this whole fight, he's acting like he wants to fight and get in close quarters, but he finally has the opportunity, and now he doesn't want no part of that. Now, granted, he's been broken down. He doesn't have that same energy or fight in him that he had initially. But notice this, it looks like Crawford has moved to the orthodox stance. Very subtle move by him. Very tricky guy. And this sucks for Horn because, boom, look at this overhand. Crawford counters the jab of Horn with the overhand right from the orthodox stance, switches back to southpaw stance. But Crawford did switch to orthodox. It was very subtle, and that's very tricky and very dangerous for opponents because you're sitting there, you're fighting him for like, what, 6, 7, 8 rounds in the southpaw stance. Out of nowhere, he turns orthodox. He's worn you down. He's figured out your timing and your rhythm. He's full of energy. He's ready to go, and now he completely switches it up on you, and the angles change. Everything changes, and now Crawford's teeing off from the southpaw stance. Beautiful work. Completely controlling Jeff Horn and just dogging him, taking him to the doghouse, taking him to the cleaners. Ripping off combos, willing to take shots, and you saw Crawford get countered there. I think it was with a hook, but at that point, it doesn't really bother him. Like I said, man, if you're looking to finish fights, you're going to take some of those shots. Why? Because you got to set your feet, okay? You got to set your feet, and boom, land beautiful punches like that. Landed a beautiful cross that had Jeff Horn looking like he was breakdancing or something. The end of the round. Crawford senses the end is coming. Beautiful hooks here. I mean, just it's beautiful the way he flows in and out. If he needs to move back, he'll move back and counter. If he needs to come forward, he'll come forward. It's like it's all dependent on what his opponent wants to do. If his opponent doesn't want to engage, okay, he'll put the pressure. If his opponent wants to get too aggressive, okay, he'll back up. If his opponent wants to be calculated and measured, okay, they'll box in the center of the ring. And same technique by Jeff Horn. It's just unbelievable that he keeps going to the same thing. You know, he's not really throwing any lead hooks. You know, do something different, man. Throw a lead hook, follow up with a cross. You know, go down to the body. You know, use your lead hand, use your jab. You know, you just can't keep switching to the southpaw stance, closing the distance, and throwing a right hand against a guy like this, against a fighter like Crawford. But, you know, it is what it is. And Crawford's refusing to back up at this point. He's saying, no, we're not doing this anymore. This thing where you start, you know, backing me up. That's over with. And Crawford doesn't even feel like he's a threat because he's not even respecting the attacks, the dashes of Jeff Horn at this point. If he's going to move back, he's going to do it just because he wants to. He's looking for something. Beautiful. You know, Crawford didn't even really use too many feints in this fight. I mean, I may be mistaken, but I didn't see too many feints. And beautiful work, sitting down on those punches, backing Jeff Horn up, and boom, puts him down with the left cross. And it's got to be exhausting for Horn, all that movement. That's when movement can turn against you. It can turn into an enemy. You know, when you move a lot, that expends a lot of energy. But if you're moving and you're losing, that's a bad mix. Beautiful body shots, understands how to go head, body, head. This is why he's the best finisher in the world. Ripping shots with hooks to the body, goes up to the head. Beautiful work by Terrence Crawford. That's the film study. If you got any more fights you want me to break down, put them down below in the comment section. I'll get at you. This is your boy Havoc. We'll find around. Peace.